So, welcome to Tech Talk Thursday, Season 5, Episode 13. Pemtron is a South Korean manufacturer of high-quality inspection equipment. The company started in 2002 and opened 7 years later in the United States for the first time. Here to tell us about the company's technological evolution is the General Manager for the Americas, Stephen T. Wongsonvanee. Welcome, Stephen. Nice to see you today.
Hi, Trevor. Thanks for having me.
Okay. So, for the benefit of our listeners and viewers that are not familiar with Pemtron, tell us, this is the first time we've interviewed you. So tell us about the founder of the company and how the company was formed.
Pemtron Technology is a Korean-based manufacturer. It was started in 2002, and our focus is 3D inspection technology, so test and inspection sector.
Okay. So, you say 3D inspection, so you actually started immediately with SPI when AOI had already been around for some years. So why did you decide to immediately start with the SPI route?
So in the early 2000s, by that time, 2D AOI was already well established. It had flooded the market, and there was a lot of competitors. 3D inspection, or this adapting this 3D technology to look at volumetric solder was new to the industry, and the owners felt that was the way forward.
Right. So of course, 3D looking at volumetric amounts, it means that you're using metrology to measure the volume of solder paste there. Did you then go into making 2D AOI systems, or did you stick with 3D?
No, we've always stuck with 3D technology. We already had that technology established, so spinning that off into AOI and other industries like semiconductor, bond wiring seemed like it was the right choice.
Right. Okay. So when you're developing the AOI systems, what challenges did you face?
So when we look at 3D inspection for solder paste, we're looking at very small features, in the 5, 6 to 8 mil range, height range. We're dealing with solder paste, and it's dull. There's not many features on the board at this point in the production cycle. When you go into AOI, now we have this board that has completely populated with products that go all the way up onto 25 or more millimeters. So we have a height range difference. We have a lot of complex components and leads and fine pitched leads. The solder has been reflowed, so it doesn't have the same sort of dullness that non-reflowed solder had. So we get a lot of things like spikes in the system when you're visually looking at it. And I think hats off to our R&D department about just being tenacious and sticking with developing algorithms to remove those features that are unwanted.
Right. So you're dealing with all these shiny joints and all these things that we're throwing up there. So you've now got a very robust AOI platform as well. Let's move on now to when you launched into the US, which is back in 2009. Now, the US is a very different market for you. Typically, outside of the US, companies sell through distribution. Over here, it's very much manufacturers' reps. What approach did you take to the market?
So the US, you're correct, it's a difficult market, and especially since all the products the sales take place over small companies instead of some large companies that are going to buy 50, 100, 200 units at one time. You're talking about shops that buy anywhere between 1 to 3 systems, and a lot more spread out amongst many different time zones. It was a hard start. When we brought this product to the US, they made me the general manager and me and the global director, who's now the global director, at the time wasn't. He was the global sales manager, Kevin Hom. We had a shoestring budget. We literally drove from state to state because flying was just not cost effective. So we got in a car and drove through half of the United States, meeting with reps, signing them up, the first beginning. So a lot of people at Pemtron, especially myself, Kevin, who I just mentioned, Mr. Yu, the president, we're all engineers by trade, electrical engineering background. So we did a lot of the installation, evaluations, training, just us. So it was a long road, and it was a difficult journey, and we certainly built this company that we are today in the one customer at a time. And it was like the first year was one company, and then the second year might be two companies, and we just persevered, worked hard, and got through it. And I thank all those customers who gave us the opportunity and let us prove ourselves to them. And I still know every one of them today, and still am friends with them till now.
Great, that's great. And yeah, you must have burned a lot of rubber on the road, you know, going around the country in the early days, that's for sure. But obviously it's worked. I mean, you're now successfully established over here, and you've got a good portfolio. What are your best sellers on in your range of inspection equipment? So
3D SPI is probably the number one seller. And it's the cost of buying a 3D SPI is less than buying a 3D AOI, and there's more value added to it as far as quality in your production. Since most of the defects are going to be coming from your solder related, then and they can catch it much earlier on in the process, then they see that as a good benefit for them. We have other pieces of equipment that we've developed for at companies' request. One being we're the very first manufacturers of something that we call the Twin. And the Twin is a top and bottom 3D AOI simultaneous inspection. So you can use this as we're the very first people in the market to make this. And they use this in a lot of the automotive applications where they need to do some kind of final inspection assembly. So this is a very good product.
Yeah, that's really interesting because there's a lot of companies have brought out 3D on the top and 2D underneath inspection. But you know, just to look at nomenclature and stuff like that. But you're using 3D top and bottom, so that's presumably for double-sided boards and throughput. Yeah.
And we also make a dual lane, dual head system, and we now just introduced a dual lane quad gantry. So we have it's a twin system for double lanes. So there's 4 heads in this.
That work independently?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a very good piece of equipment. When you consider there's less floor space involved, less manpower to operate this machinery, you can build top and bottom in one line, or you can build mixed products in them. So.
Right. Okay. Well, you know, my next question was going to be what makes Pemtron different, and from what you're telling me, it sounds like you have the engineering capability in-house to be able to bring up some customized units for customers.
Yeah, it's an important thing for us that we understand that we have a lot of competitors, but we understand that our customers have a lot of competitors too. And they want to be competitive in their manufacturing environment. And so they're thinking of new and innovative ways to make the things better quality, less expensive, faster, just more efficient all around. And so when they bring things like this to us, then we're more than happy to develop it. So we're not really the company that develops a product and then tries to go out and sell it on the market. We really put a lot of time to listen to our customers, develop the product, and it speaks for itself. And when it's customer driven, you see a lot of benefits because you see the other customers on the market knowing that this is not a product that was developed by us trying to sell it to everybody, but rather somebody an engineer who actually thought of this.
Yeah. It's a good point. What about the software side of it, Stephen? I mean, for example, does the your SPI system, does it communicate closed loop with most of the printers in the market to notify them of defects or missing paste or this type of thing?
Yeah. So our software, one of the good things about our software also, to answer your question, but we actually make our own interface. So when you go to import the Gerber KDD, we don't use a third-party manufacturer. It all gets put in through our own software that we've developed, and it's very seamless in that. So it makes programming a lot more easy and efficient. The system does have closed loop feedback with the printers, all major brands of printers, and feedback with the placement systems. And the AOI system also has a communication between the between the SPI, so that it can go back. And if you had a solder related defect on your AOI, without leaving that system, you could go back and see on the same screen whether the print from that particular component and whether there was any solder related defect earlier on.
Right. Excellent. Okay. So obviously you're a very innovative company. We've got Apex coming up in a couple of months' time. But we're, looking even further ahead, where do you think you're going to be over the next 5 years? Where do you think your development trail is going to take you?
So semiconductor is one division that we're investing heavily in. There's some other products that we're coming out that I think are going to be important into the industry, that I probably can't just say just as of yet, but there will be some new innovative products just like our twin and our dual gantry dual lane. It's going to push towards, if it hasn't already, auto programming, and that should be combined, where we feel that it should be combined with artificial intelligence, because once you auto program something, it would make no use if the program could go through and auto program the entire board, when all you have to do is go back through and debug it for another 50 boards or whatever you might have. Sure. So artificial intelligence walks hand in hand with auto programming, and that's something that our AI team has been working on for quite some time. And I think it will be really is the next step in the AOI industry.
Yeah, I think that's important, because I know 402 can be a different size from one manufacturer than another manufacturer, if you understand me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you need to be able to differentiate that, and I think AI is the way to do that.
Yeah, we've started with OCR first because I think most everybody in this industry would agree with me when I say that the body markings, the nomenclature on the components are the things that cause the most hassle having to reprogram. So applying the artificial intelligence to this algorithm would be just a huge step by itself. AI is a slow wheel to turn right now. We have it done, but it requires a lot of samples, because the AI system needs samples to be able to train itself on what's good and what's bad. So the R&D department really initially wanted us to develop a cloud system, which was their design. And that would probably be the perfect environment where you sell AI to everybody and all of these defects get uploaded into one central sort of node or brain.
Right.
If you had.
Right.
Obviously, nobody's going to allow us to tap into their IT department specifically would not allow us to tap into their systems and start uploading data. So we have to build this on our own, and as customers buy the systems, it would need to learn also as they start training. So
yeah, it's an interesting debate, that, isn't it? Because I mean, you've got a lot of the tier ones who are loading all of their data up into these cloud systems and getting the benefit of it because they've got so many machines across the globe. Whereas you're selling, as you say, in the United States to companies that have got onesies and twosies, and they're not getting the benefit of that. But if they were to sign up to a cloud-based central repository for Pemtron inspection, for example, they would get the benefit of everybody's data.
I mean, you see it in things like the electronic car industry. Tesla, for example, when you start driving, their autonomous driving in the background unless you know where to look and you disable it, automatically starts uploading information to their main servers to help them develop the autonomous driving. Yeah. So yeah, it would be a great benefit, but unfortunately, we're all just going to have to build the database ourselves.
Right. There's all sorts of issues, especially companies that are doing any kind of military work or anything like that. And it really is an issue. But yeah, I agree. For the quality aspect of manufacturing, it would be a huge boon. It really would be very helpful. Anyway, it sounds like you're going in the right direction, Stephen, and it's been a fascinating insight into Pemtron and what's happening there. So I take it you're going to be exhibiting at Apex in a few weeks' time.
Yes, sir.
People can go along there and take a closer look and see the machines in action. But for now, I want to thank you for coming in and joining us today.
Thank you.